Está 7 minutos después de las 2. Pagnahaani Matsu dia 7 2023. Bem-vindo para todos hamza ni mga gini sa mga presente. Gi piso ni Sanhilo na guma, gwini gi legislatura. Spenso. Guahu si Selina Babauta, sa guahu mo manenea este na komite i Executive Appointments and Governmental Investigation. Este na komite ansu privilegiunya dan obligasyonya para examina todo si man maapunta gini administrasyon para umanea i departamento siya gi gobernamento ta. Sa sono lokwi responsabilidad niya este na komite i provan investiga gi halami gobernamento ta. Esta gikan munazan in adapta i artikulo siya ni para paugo na junta no zazau paugo na beu introduce i para hamzo i tau i Legislative Bureau empleado siya ni man assiste este na komite tal como si Senyor Joe Bermudez guiza ya Budgado ni mapunta por assiste este na komite si Senyor Devin Macaranas giza i Legislative Assistant man assiste guni na komite i muna posible por mapublika este gi cable i hearing ni gi Facebook si Senyor Delbert Camacho Lukwe pot para ugaha inadahi dyan na reglamento ginigahalo i kwetpo, i piso, i Sanhilo Naguma, si Senyor Will Oggun, guiza i Sergeant at Arms. Paugo na haoni, zao paugo na behu kumbida ulo si Senyor Oscar Babauta, gini administrasyon, guiza i Special Assistant for Administration, zani maapunta as Senyor Ross Hugh Songgao Manglona, halom data fanita ginigila masa. Paugo na haoni para umakisamina i edukasyonya, i sensyonya, i kwalifikasyonya, i maapunta Senyor Ross Hugh Songgao Manglona para dirihi i opisina ni Manatibo. Pues paugo behu baba i piso para si Senyor Oscar Babauta, so introduce it ni Haji maapunta. Si Zusmasi.
Si Zusmasi, Senador Selina Roberto Babauta ni Onro dan oportunidad. Antita sigimona no patafan lingwahita paguno. Okay, si mali sa klaro no.
Mano no na lingwahe ni.
Si Zusmasi, masya mano. Masya apa no sa ito. Talalingan si Senator po. Malagos ti mekung si Senator po no parlabang campaign biti. Patafanyalika didi. Maninrobli na manggatsong mo no Senador no Selina Babauta, si Jos Masi para todos ang talo bihay. Manalita gagan po na otro na suntun inapunta ni gobyerno para ICUC board. Lugaw si Senyor Oscar Manglona Babauta no debut sa organisasyon ni mapunta para dirihi mo na i-opisina ni Special Assistant for para administrasyon. Di para bejuda administrasyon gumiya siya mo na i-programan manmagastagi sa nilo. Digi na motibo na kay pago na taluani da sen onro dan magufo neste na oportunidad ni kandizo i gobernota as Arno Indalecio Palacios dan loki segundo gobyerno honorable Lieutenant Governor David Mundo Apatang para beo anok pago na taluani gini ni para be entrega masinyala na official para ijima fananan Indigenous Affairs Office papa Gobernamento Marianas. Dasem nagopago pa be nota ko jung nagagi presente itinanso niya Los Magasta as Governor Palacios dan si Lieutenant Governor Manglona na manita pago na talwani giyagapaw matatatsang loki ginisan mena. Sinimbargo no Madam Chair, liko na lamigay kita ita no tumungo sina prohimo na hoben sito, titalo no ben sito lo esta edad niya loki no kapas mana sistema na publiko gi umalumjo na gi tinaytay medyo gi ipahina niya na holom po di eksperyensya niya siya, edukasyon niya, dan todo ejemplo ni finatsuto niya gi manmapos siya na organisasyon, gi pareho ikuleyo, pior gi papaikuleyo, iti mafananan no NMC Chris program, ni yung tempo gi ja gumilui, iti na programa, ja magta muna ane pag gumafanyago na programa gi Northern Marianas College. Tado duda ni finatsuto niya gi na tempo, ane staba gi NMC no na kwetpon edukasyon, ito ta matafananan no post-secondary education. Bijan no mumanin niya iti NMC Chris program desde 2006 hasta 2014. Umando geno ijon niya no atistiguji geno ifinatsuto niya ichulot lahitas Ross. Como mafananang ifino English, he is a legendary of the cinema. Para oportunidad para itaw-taw tayo ni Gina Maranas. Ano mo natin ito no Senyora Senador Chairwoman Selina, advance lagi muna sa entrega yalong voluntariamente, gedzi makwet po ni mafanyago si difunto Tony Pellegrino in Northern Marianas Trade Institute. Dangkulo at dunia si Mr. Manglona giloki ngin tempo, ane gumiluli, niagas presidenta ni Ikuleo as Mrs. Agnes Masfeeders. Edi talo na testigo binanya na finatsuto niya si Ross Okuk Manglona. Ane deka apo niya idi mafananan EDA no grant giza Amerika, Estados Unidos. Ja manggi loki no ajudo logo. Ito na finatsuto niya si Ross dan mangatong niya gi Northern Marianas Trade Institute umanok gua dokumento testigo na umanok da motto 10.3 milyon para uajuda in Northern Marianas Trade Institute. Do malunjo na gagi pagustin na salapi na fengkas gi Northern Marianas NMTech mafananan pago. Edi finanyago ni legislatura gi Fernandos 2-3 sakan no na tempo. Dolara mo na imaniyante nito pago na kwetpon opisina, umanasad bito na salapi ni po advansa muna, itaw-taw gini ni parohugahan no inedjak eksperyensya in eskwela nesisya makinarya, munalago, mandasay, o sino kapintero, dyan no mayorda. Ito na kantilang salapi 10.3 na milyon. Sinya manajuda manaksa no eskwela para no siya na pamagun ni malago manidjak sa titolo ki pamagunta Marianas no chairwoman man malago no man eskwela no business major, man lawyer, engineer, man doktor. Anong na mamuling mo na tinigong niya loki grupon enfermera para ispetata siya ni private clinic na magufedyo na resulta siya. Tan sige mo na tanatsadika asti eskwela niya, estudio niya si Ross Gayas tageno gi testimonyo no nayo magradua gi master kilo na degree ni actually lahitas Ross ginini master's degree in general education in Farmington State College. Igobino ta as Governor Palacios dyan sa Lieutenant Governor Apatang, mapega konfiansa niya gas Ross ni para una doko Doon nalala, mas talo programa muna ki Indigenous Affairs Office para informasyon midra no ani mapunta si Ross gini ki 2 semana na tempo. Timan man ni si Senyor Manglona, pero fatatsong do tutun talo manjunga no kontratan sa lapi wita fananan no grant este na sa lapi mafato gini ni kanay federal siya gikatkwed na programa ni sinya na sedbi ni paruusa umadilanta kultura pala lengguahe dan hafata praktika gini kita nota da antilacidos fanang hasta gua 2 o 3 asenyala na aplikasyon di parofanggawa judo gini ni federal so malum jo da ititsagod ng pago ta merese no siya na kantinang salapi ipon na holong ni po dilantay tanota marianas. Sin embargo no Madam Chair dan members siya senador listo si Ross para opi afan na finaisin mizo di pengketong mas hafal plano niya gi man mamela siya na tempo. Dokwe administrasyon di siya gi mismo tempo dagkulo na konsiderasyon mizo dan insinya mula dan ina si Ross mo na programanya dan afa siya po tsogoy no man mamamesin dos magasta gi administrasyon Governor Palacios dan si Lieutenant Governor Apatang konsinya konsidera dan naigi ni bendisyon mizo kumuhando ni gagi forsan man mangufirma para todo siya man magasta ni man mapupunta halong gikarkwed opisina gi Zamarianas. Si Ross tinebo gini anak ko na eksperyensyan na pud este siya na pinatotso tatati dan iafa siya gagi papasenturon niya diachitsigit pago na tiningo dinay ganas dan ansya si gobyerno dan senago para apunta ilahitas Ross halong gini na opisina. Talong biaya administrasyon accepten di dangkulo na solemnly na respeto humidi dan winayda para hamdo todos no chairwoman no Senator Babauta dan loki mangkatsumo gini as Senator no po Manglona dan otro loki na Senator Manglona gini ni tanota luta kof na magufeste sa bago na talwani Manglona loki in keke sumare bago na talwani kof bonitos ti da malumo na ti para nakukusti na inenon bago na talwani sa tilelik ko na para in kontra para in pitsigi mo na in-operation Ross the na-offer financing medyo lo tanong biya i-administrasyon na desesya na favorable na desisyon o fakto inapunta ni gobyerno. Si Diyos masi, dan buenas tardes para todos santo.
Si Diyos masi, no, Senyor Babauta.
Estago patalo.
Zau pa ko na babay sabgi para hodji siya man malago man ofresi no komplemento para sino mensahe ni pud kandidatuta pa ako ni para ma-examina no sensya niya. Por favor. O fafaisin hamzo na hodji no matuhulo pero panofresi no mensahe, por favor, sangan or anunsyo hafan ng departamento ni gobernamento pat kumpanya un representa da sinerdio ni reglamento ni Senate 5 minutos para un ofrecer ni mensaje. Si Diyos masi.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Babauta, and members of the Senate. Before I proceed with my statement, I would like to ask permission if I can bring my 2 children up with me to join me.
You may.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I proceed, I would like to go ahead and have my kids introduce themselves.
My name is Tristan Patrick Ogo Manglona, and I'm here in support of my father's confirmation.
My name is Ethan Scott Ogo Manglonia, and I'm here in support of my father's confirmation.
Thank you, boys. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, again, and members of the August body. My name is Julie A. Ogo, a member of the House of Representatives representing the island of Rhoda. I'm here before you testify in support of Ross Hugh Songa Manglonia's nomination as the resident executive to the Indigenous Affairs Office. Many of you already know Ross is my ex-husband. Regardless of our separation, he and I support one another in our respective endeavors as we possess personal knowledge of each other's strengths and weaknesses. To best describe Ross in one word, it's the word tenacious. Ross is not perfect by any means. He is highly detailed, oriented, and works more hours than you pay him. No matter the obstacle, Ross will figure out a compromise of some sort. Ross enjoys the challenge of a less than functional budget. In his mind, he can apply for federal funding to cover the deficit, as he has proven on various occasions. If Ross is part of an organization, he becomes empathetic and living it better than he found it. I urge you to please doubt him. That's when he does his best work. This is the Ross I know, the type A personality who wants to succeed at any endeavor he puts his mind to. Thank you again for your time, and I look forward to his successful confirmation. Suzus Masi. Have a
This is
good day.
Marcy, Senora Hoko. Ogo, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Mabababay piso isadgi para oggi otro malago no tumesticuzzi e mapunta Senor Manglona.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and senators of this committee. My name is Agnes Manglona McFeeters. It sounds like Manglona is very popular today. I never knew that Manglona can be popular, but today we're very popular. I don't have written statement for Ross, but I have known Ross for many, many years. And I would say that by appointing Ross, the governor did a great job, because not only is Ross qualified, but he lived the life of the indigenous of the CNMI. When we started the college in Rhoda, I went to Rhoda to visit the campus. I met Ross, and he didn't even finish high school. He didn't have a job. So I told him, go get your degree in high school. He did. After he got his degree in high school, that's when he started working. And the people that he's going to be dealing with are the same kind. They may not have a job, but since he lived that kind of a life, he had not only the knowledge, but the experience that he went through. And that to me is more important than the knowledge and the degree he has. But I know Ross, he tried to get himself be promoted at NMC. And I looked at him, he came to my office and said, no way do I promote anybody unless they work for it. And he did. After high school, he was hired in Rhoda. He worked hard and got his bachelor's degree. That's when he started getting a better salary at NMC, because we don't give the salary to anybody that just wanted to get promoted. They have to earn it. He worked so hard that he continue his education and got his master's degree. And when the dean was open, he was the most qualified person, because not only didn't he know the job and the experiences and what Rhoda needs and what the other islands need and what the people needs, but he also have the credential knowledge that he could help develop it. When he was there, the program really established very, very well. He brought into the CNMI all kinds of plants that we did not have, including the different bananas that we didn't have. So he had increased what we need here in the CNMI. He brought him all kinds of plants such right now we're so proud to have dragon fruits, because he realized that people can have a business with it. So not only was he increasing the amount of things that we should have, he also was thinking of making each individual be a business person. So that's why I really feel that he was not only qualified because of his degree, he also started all the hydroponics. And those are issues that we never knew, but he brought them here. Unfortunately, things have slowed down the growth, and the millions of dollars that he brought into NMC under land grant, he did a lot of things there. In fact, after I left the office, they were looking at NMC, at the land grant many times because they have more money than the institution itself. I was fortunate to get him at NMTI because we didn't have much money as a private. He helped me a lot to make NMTI grow the way it grew. When I left, the institution provide about 700 to 800 students a year. Now I heard it's less than 40 people there. He not only did a lot of things, but he wrote, and I think we have here another one that was with me at NMTI, who brought in the $10 million, and I hope we don't lose that $10 million. I'm scared that we may lose it because they're not following what they wrote, and the federal will look at what they approve in the proposal. They're not following the proposal. Ross and one of our is back here also. They knew what's in there, but it's not being followed right now at NMC. Ross was not only helping me administratively, he also taught because we didn't have enough people. So he was teaching too. So you can ask him anything and he will do it. So that's why I want to emphasize that Mr. Ross Manglona is not just educated, he lived the life of those that he's going to be serving. And I hope that he will be approved. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Mosse, Senora McFeeders, abeto'y saggi para haji outro malago no manofresi complemento.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairwoman and prestigious members of this body, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Miranda Villagomez Manglona. I am Manglona by marriage, not by no. Okay, it is with great pleasure and honor that I appear before this body in support of Honorable Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apateng's appointee, Mr. Ross Hugh Songo Manglona, as the Executive Director of the Indigenous Affairs Office. As an agency that has to establish a community foundation for the advancement of the indigenous people, among other things. The importance of preserving, protecting, and teaching of the cultures and traditions of our ancestors. One of the first settlers of the Northern Mariana Islands shouldn't be sidelined. This agency is tasked with several programs. However, one vital task of the executive director is to serve as an advocate for position taken by the indigenous people, brought before them issues that affects us. Ross, you will be their voice, so please make sure that the decisions, actions that you make are in the best interest of our people and our islands. Coming from a small island with a close-knit community, the island of Luta, I know that the traditional knowledge, language, culture, and preservation of our history is very important to all, not only to Luta, Saipan, Tinian, and of course the Northern Islands are being recognized now. And the respect of elders continues to be practiced as well. I am in support of his appointment because he has the vast knowledge and experience, and he is the right person that should lead this agency. I also recommend that the head of this agency, should you approve Mr. Manglonia's appointment, work with the executive director of the Carolinian Affairs Office. They should discuss several issues affecting our people and our islands. They should work collaboratively in preserving and protecting our cultures and traditions. This is not only the island of the Chamorros. This is also the island of our Carolinian counterparts. So we are one Commonwealth. We are one people. With the modern technologies nowadays, our traditional methods are slowly disappearing. It's important that we instill the values of keeping our language alive, preparing and planting local medicines. They are slowly dying as well. Our plants are being ripped apart, they're being harvested. And it is hard now, especially in the island of Rhoda also, to find all the medicines that have been there since our elders have made sure that the plants are there for our younger generations. The agricultural practices, raising livestock, fishing, preparing, cooking traditional food, and drinks, and also the traditional dances and songs. We do have a certain way of singing amongst ourselves. So I hope that we continue to practice that in the direction of Mr. Ross Manglonia. And I'm certain that bringing our Manamkos together should be prioritized. They are able to share traditions or techniques that their parents have taught them. We have to respect our elders. We should not allow our younger generations to not have the knowledge of our ancestors by our language and our traditions. Hadsa ilingwahi zan ikutorata. Viva Tototanu, Viva Marianas. So I thank you, Chair and members again for this opportunity. And we look forward for the confirmation of Mr. Ross Manglonia so he can start moving this important office, the Indigenous Affairs Office. Sizus Masi.
Sizos Masi. Kogaha otro Manglona. Maguf no manofresi pat.
Pensa sa ati Manglona do pago daw. May Manglona pago na ni. Sujud masih na inaido na siya na oportunidad para bay kwento siya menan medyo. No, pero may gido gini po. Pwede ilan mami asras. Nagumay gido pwede pagkilot na kapasidad na sinya sogi cheso. Da sogi maudik. Daw na bay president jo kasi na consider line na in confirm da sinya in na man total no na president para upan mago wa protection para kami para pago dan man mamela antes bay flagan no daw na bay pega sina na hinasu exam do na antes di papansigi mo na di ba tatugo maning mag da mga na tana pulingo i kontrata dyan i tapatipika sa mo lagi na tumor Jesus masih no
Si Jesus Mase, Senyor Sangan no hazinan mo para i-record.
pensa sa tan melepet na
Esta
Manglona
mampu
no
sang siya soza.
okay pues wahu si balma be hokuk maratita
Si Jesus Mase. Abeto piso para hazi otro malago.
Dispensa sa ti Manglona so lo. In fact, gawa na Suzuki luta. Layo si Ross. Tumelom na si tatanya. Dan si Wanabe. Gagito gini para bay panggago sa patasan Mitsu na para in confirm do niya selection do nanay loke dang kulo na si dos masi i gobyerno Garnet Palacios dan ni segundo gobyerno gas David apatang na ma-adzik si Ross paudirihi i opisina i Indigenous Affairs. Pues hugagagaw hamzo Senator Manglona Dono, Senator Manglona Po, dan hago Madam Chair. Kausinya in konfirma si Ross gwine na inapuntan i gobyerno. Si Dos Masi.
Si Jesus Mase, Senyora Suzuki. Abeto sadgi para hazi otro malago man ofrece complemento para o sino mensaje.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and the committee. Again, I was just here this morning and I'm
You
here
look
again.
very familiar, Mr. Nogis.
I'm here on behalf of my friend, my colleague. They have summarized his educational credentials, his experience, and I would like to attest my wholehearted support. As the lady mentioned the previous testimony, that we should work together as a people, as locals in our islands. I have had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Manglona. We have talked that all the outreach programs that we're going to implement will be a joint issue, both followers and Chamorro. So with that, Madam Chair, thank you, and I hope you will confirm Mr. Manglona. Thank you very much.
Si Jesus Mase, Hilisa, Mr. Nogis. Koga otro malago man hita ginigilamasa para ofrece komite no mensaje para complemento po di mapuntan niya si Senyor Manglona.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Tiro, and members of this committee. My name is Francisco M. Rabalman, and I apologize. The M doesn't stand for Manglona. And I appear before you as a private citizen testifying in support of Ross Manglona, his appointment to the Indigenous Affairs Office as the resident executive. I know you've been provided a package relating to Mr. Manglona's credentials, including his resume, and I apologize in advance if I am repeating those information, but for the interest of time, I will just mention two that I have personal knowledge of that speak to Ross's ability. These stem from my time on the Board of Regents, at the Division of Environmental Quality, and as his co-worker at NMTI. His time at both NMC and NMTI proved highly productive and impactful. During his time as the Dean of NMC CREASE, Ross successfully applied for and secured grant funding meant to establish the Natural Resource Management degree. This project gave the college the funds to, one, establish college scholarships to NRM majors. This was a major incentive and recruitment tool for the NRM program, and as a result, the resource agencies, IEDQ, CRM, HPO, and the like, were able to fill technical entry-level positions with associate and science degree graduates in such positions as inspectors, responders, and lab surveillance technicians, to name a few. I have a personal experience with regards to this program, and it happened to be one of my nephew who whose parents were separated at his early age, and he knew he was the only male in the family, and he wanted to go to college and get his degree, of course. But he also knew that his time was running out. He started at NMC, majored in liberal arts. But when this program came out, he was motivated because it was also a means to pay for his tuition with regards to that scholarship. Make the story short, he took on the NRM program. He dabbled at some of the resource agencies as intern. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish his degree because at the time he really needed to get a job. And APEC, one of the prominent environmental firms on the island, picked him up 12 years ago, and he's now working for APEC as a field supervisor. So to me, that was a big success story with regards to how this program, particularly the NRM scholarship, was able to motivate students to get them on their career path. The college funds also was able to create internships for college students at NMC CREASE while attending school. It also offered high school summer internship programs for them to explore STEM fields, STEM areas, i.e., science, technology, engineering, and math. And lastly, it provide opportunity to earn transferable college credits to the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. Mr. Ross's contributions while at the Northern Marianas Trade Institute were no less impactful. Ross was able to greatly increase the student population by negotiating with businesses for competency-specific training. By increasing recruitment and student interest, we in turn witnessed increasing graduation rates. Ross also acquired increased legislative funding from Saipan and Rota delegation, respectively, to offer a nationally recognized certification programs in the trades from the National Center for Construction and Research. And lastly, he was successful in securing, as was mentioned earlier, the $10.3 million EDA grant to fund the new facility. Many of you may have worked with Ross in some shape or form. You too know he is passionate and highly resourceful. The IAO has longed for someone who is very resourceful and result-oriented, and in that regards, I humbly urge this body to expedite the confirmation of Ross Manglona as Resident Executive of Indigenous Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Balderman. Is there anybody else who wishes to make any comments? Zangin Tazamas, ta consigo mona. Pero faz impago si Senyor Manglona, por favor, togi ko sa kisinya un manafan hula ni Legislative Assistant.
Ross Hugh S. Manglona, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Jesus Masi. Senyor Manglona, esta munhadzan ho manafan hula. Zabeo, magufi komitea pago probaba i piso i sadgi para ben recibi afana mensahe para sino no statement ginin hago.
This is Mossy, Madam Chair. Tatuga debe extendi agradecimento tati para a família de todos os matuna man amigo manatungo por todo isso putasonia hiu na tulago ani uli pa magono gini manogi magagaw siya sa loke pues talo Jesus Mossy na talo thank you por este bonitong corona. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of this noble body. I would like to begin by thanking you for the opportunity to present my plans for the growth of the Indigenous Affairs Office. Typically, the IAO hired musicians, weavers, food demonstrators, and other cultural practitioners. Much of this was provided for through ARPA funding. I can safely tell you now, this added funding source is a thing of the past, requiring us to be aggressive in our funding acquisition hereforth. In reviewing the transition report provided, it is obvious we need to ensure certain things happen quickly. First being hiring administrative personnel trained in the MUNIS system. Second, establish SOPs for the various offices' functions. And third is create an organizational chart that is comprehensive. Fourth, partner with PSS in further developing native language studies in schools. This office recently was faced with much controversy due to the untimely resignation of all of its staff. I believe we've pacified many of the individuals that were unhappy with the office's abrupt closure. You'll maybe all be wondering how we were able to come to a compromise. Upon receiving the official memorandum of my appointment, I called up the most vocal of the group and informed them of my intentions of expanding the program's capabilities. Having a history of grant acquisition, our friends were ecstatic at the promise of doing more for our community through external funding. Upon opening up our doors last week, the following have been identified as needs from our stakeholders: acquiring funding for the maintenance and upkeep of historical sites being encroached upon by various development. For your information, I've begun drafting a proposal intended to fund such activities with ANA, mimicking a project done in Alaska in this regard. Number two, submit for funding for further traditional fishing practices such as talaza, atsuman, etc. For your information, we're preparing a final draft of our proposal to CJPA for talaza instruction for at-risk individuals for the CNMI. Our office intends on submitting funding for the furtherance of music in the vernacular via scholarships to prospective local musicians as well. We are currently trying to identify various funding sources we could possibly tap to participate in FestPac 2024 in Hawaii. And lastly, acquire funding for Chamorro and Carolinian Cultural Month, scheduled annually in September. The aforementioned are just a few things we are focusing on at the moment. I foresee this list growing as our grant acquisition efforts expand. The cinema is currently in a financial slump, as we all are aware. We intend on acquiring outside funding to continue providing meaningful services. We may not be able to hire as we would like to, so I plan on contracting out to vendors as opposed to hiring directly. Thank you again.
Senyor Manglona. Di po siya na manggagid ko ini para ta eksamina edukasyon mo, isensya mo, kwalifikasyon mo. Pati estigi demokrasiyan gobernamento tag ini. Za unico na obligasyon man karga na komite. Na junta ni manggagid pa gugwini no pati loki no asares fefetsu ilay para eksisisa legislatura autoridadnya sigun gilay. Siguro zo nataza hudinida ni edukasyon mo, kwalifikasyon mo, jangan matay-tay maulik pakete ni man entrega mi gini ni administrasyon. Pues por eso una razón na menos casi na cuestiona para ben faisino no esta munazan un sangan dididi put plano mo za ue ekong siya man matu pa go man testigo za ni plano siya ni para makonsigi mo na programa ni manatibo za ni followers bula siya na opisina sinya no ta olok no un dekka za un fanhamzu mo na gesti tat como MPOT dinancho PSS lokwe manamko Carolinian Affairs cosa que sinya ta advansa lingwahe kultura tradisyon siya ni esta man malilingo talili lokwe zauna bay zama attention mo gato gi Chamorro Carolinian Language Policy Commission sa pati loki sa sono gi programan man natibo siya. Malagam gesti na talawani put para ben ekong ka mas afa plano mo na leko menos kasi question pa ben faisin ho. Zazao pago na bay baba para pumalo siya membro na gininesti na komite zangin gua question niya pat gua no statement man malago man ofresi beo recognisa siya. Senyor Senador Paul Manglona.
Madam Chair, loki recognition para si former NMC President Agnes McPheeters sa Nominee dan todo sa siya man presente gi gallery malago jo Madam Chair na ta recognisa siya magay man bonito siya na sa putasyon ma entrega komite ginin todo sa siya mga ulo sa mga eventos pues ko lang siya jo tati pabefang question na esta mampusagang na si Ross magay maulik paresti na posisyon para Indigenous Affairs Office tawag klaro ginin man testigo siya. Law information ni komite maulik sa si Ross mensiona na kunang oportunidad didi tempo para onolong opisina sa finally za notisya na stakeholders sinya mo na Ross ispikajama di gipresenti often no iuti mo na opisina na opepera gi often na programa no mas mababansa or matsotsogi gi antisa di walo mesi nasakan apa no na mafokus ya dan apa actually unatan pon utungan on mensiona di mas unatan na programa lo basically na tunga ma fa na fa pago mafokus ya
Gi man mapus lina parogi lami kayo na ARPA manasibi para manhayan staff. Ito siya na staff para traditional weavers, apa di para sa kantador, pa siya lo taiguin o pago na luxury. Pues kagizo pago na para be kena guahaji through este siya salapi federal. Pues manispipia do CJPA for instance man-apply do sa para drug prevention. Uno is niya goals. Lo sinya lo que is drug prevention tinesauro no gaigi SARP program ne pero eligible. Sinya lo que fa magun man eligible lo estina programa in nakikigwa put bandan sustainability. Isti tautone tangi mapreso gana bene an malagnos ki preso. Tia tungo mono gi guatu después tauza malago maya gi. Sa pudi kriminat nesta gigo na mali na gining kriminat da timatras ki bandan salapi timatras ki bandan cosas pues todo timonia siempre muzongnya humano da mambendi drugs humano da manyaki sa pudi tauza linala pues siguro zo na taging gua tagi sinya tafanagi siya I guess being the educator that I am, manunggizo na esti edukasyon sinya atulay ka inasuntaw to. The watan na esti ko submission para talaga education para ages 12 to 17 then edi siya famagun edi SARP sa siya mas munisita for prevention purposes. The a key word there is recidivism. To prevent recidivism, is how to tanagwa intervention. The stige ng sinya umalom Indigenous Affairs Office manajuda in that regard. Pues I believe we completed that portion of our mission. Nezi ta prevent este siya a continued crime within our community. Thank you.
This masida gipago often coordinations and lutas and tinian gi banani programa siya ko gaano na coordinations and
Yeah, una maaangkas lo kisti mentro sa manapply to toluna include lo que courses para luta, courses para tinian. Dengan malago sinya but at the end of the day may provide jo copy ni juna grant ne. Grant proposal tabi ti naolum tabi gi CJPA agupa intensyon no pa binaolum. Lo esta munazan isoko first draft. Or actually, it's a final draft. It's just a matter of making copies. Taza like it's a mommy copier gi office. Business order before like what the governor's office for my copy.
Thank you. No magayad ko lang fazinanya fatta jogi Facebook ko lang ista no kanon mes na logwa ungog siya problema puristi masangangan niyo puristi Carolinians and Chamorro na opisina na no apa ginatan mo no temano na isinya mo tana menos na chinenik para division gi tautauta ni uli gini nagaigi tumistigulo ki imaga si Carolinian Affairs no temana lignya si chairwoman Miranda na tumistigo na no manuno ita pues apa temano sinintemo gano na siya tana gua cooperation mas gi opisina dan gi manotauta ta continua madbansa mo na kulturata todos na no sa gua diferensya gi kultura dan gi lingway lo apa gi unatan temane no pata na menos na division.
Well, between the office ni, man mauli kam the office. Is always constituent na pago gini and keke apa sih na fang comprender ni na apa sih man unuita. Ungan dos na oficina gua para subsex lo man unuita na totogis Guatan na is a mom relationship si Mr. Nogis ne. Sinya ben nagwazi compromise through projects. Ezi project driven approach na ezi sinya toridos banda mumirisi pinatsuto mommy. Uno na project gini which I would really love to see within my 4 years is the community kitchen. Mesti community kitchen concept gives the kalan business incubator para a housewife. She's the what do you call it, the most underserved individual, the under-recognized individual in the household. The many times sagonya ne mamatinas megan or man harvest kantidan produkto. The tetungo mono po bendi po siya sago po a pico fa mauli kizo a jam pues sinya a bendi después. Pues atang kita gano no na sinya sti siya na tautogis Carolinians and Chamorros sinya ta na holum gini community kitchens of a business. Business the government plays a major role in the subsidy of a large portion of the equipment. Pues as far as the government is concerned, they handle the sanitation permits. Look, pues what is in a concept is new. Gida Marianas, lo. That's what I'm known for. Is new. Zao ano siya na undertakings. Watan I'm manmirisi tori tota. Chamorron Carolina like the watan sinya tana fazi mansu didi izota opponents gini. Nede ti mamalago na para tafanita. Fino Martin Luther King giza mapuno sa pudi malago na para tafanita. Loita manapuno sa malago man na para madibidi. Pues ni sauri ta atan no na filosofia da tatiti si Martin Luther King da fazi tafanita sa un tautoita gini. Da ejo anesinya fazi tanagwa dulang tu gitano zan para famagontag yung mamamayla. Peswatan kita geno na ben apipit na doses Felix with the governor's of the assistance lo siguro do na ready tayo ko partner gini na para ben na panlaman sulikta sa man activist.
Thank you, Ross. No gumagi alo gini gi last week gimapos na simona i CNCA nominee da temana ofaisin siya no befaisin olo kwe na para ta advansa i linala i manotauta za ni kultura na no debita na sisya mona za ni temano ni tausa siya i frinkasta tat kumesti i public land na siya bulan na public land leases man estaban kakantu pofan ma renueva guaji nuevo na lease man ma proposito gi Department of Public Land or gi legislatura no mention gi na no bula siya lan si ruta siya no dan jota loco artist siya na man mamatitir na siya no produkto lo ono para mono na hotel ni man malilis siya na gi public land ti mapromote para mabendi ko sa tono na tono no ona don boka gi restaurant niya sa sandian ma-import jan melon ma-import tin fanli artist pa no no avocado no pa no dragon fruits no torite pueja i mama import za tanotes ti ma kikila manaseset bi para ufan nafat to gininizong na pues Faisin gi si acting secretary da temana pa be Faisin amzo na lista siya kondisyon na siya na bisam on recommenda pa mi kung sakit ang mateno siya na leases gimenan momi na ben insert en olum ben ben naholumeno na kondisyon siya na zanggien ponatkiles ti tanu publiko za para un fanasa hotel pues malagwam na tagini na servisya i penentan niya i loco artist siya gi kwatun music i hotel da so much percentage na umana servisya fan mafan dan i produkto siya ufan fafan gi hotel na pues Mela fan na rekomendasyon ginin Indigenous Affairs and Carolinian Affairs siya offer no siya sa megene mattu gini mogi ti malipara na membro siya na za maprepreba amona da no gidawon sa kuna dibigwano siya na kondisyon pohon majuda ilansero dan izota siya no iji mamatitin na siya local products na no pues atam faneno dan studiosi temaneno sa bula siya sta simpiman mafatto po fan mandakut gipet na po fan ma renueva po fan ma naitano no lease extension dan office yan pues ini pa ba mensiona pues por último gualo ki siya no intatay taya bula manano totota no manano mumemeno si populasyon manano siya totota para Amerika siya za manyasagagi lo magay mapagtitika ikut turatagwi mandadanya asesu no makakanta kantata siya kantan islas dan mambabela balan islas siya ja kada sakan uno na okasyon no asu isi Labor Day picnic no baseball tournament Amerika nigi uno at naman coordinate siya sa no sinyalokigi no man cooperated za neno siya na grupo siya manggagi otro banda za ta fanazuda te mano na pergi bandan lingway no sa bulagi siya man experience siya matungo si siya bandan no computer application no faji sinya man chot manita managwa por ejemplo application para transladat sa moro para English or matuli siya fa na dokumento gini man matransladaji man majuda siya no pata advansa mas i-access si lingway gi online no por ejemplo tausa no excited so tungo na bula siya chogi da pero ipumalo siya no antes experienciamos isensyamo panajuda no midgut no thank you Chairwoman.
Si mo si Senador Manglona. Beo recogniza pago i otro na Senator Manglona.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Acting Resident Executive Manglona. I just want to say that based on the testimonies that were given today, as well as the packet that you submitted to the committee, there's no doubt that you possess the skills and the experiences that you can run this department, this agency. And one thing that I do, or several things that I want to point out, that someone who is in a sense new to the government or not fully understanding the roles of the executive branch is the exposure of the office itself. We hear Indigenous Affairs Office, but do we really know what the purpose and intent of that office is? And just looking at what's listed in the Constitution, some of the responsibilities of the offices include, all this development of programs, translation of history. How do we help Indigenous people enter the professional workplace and stuff like that? And a lot of these, are lacking, I feel, in my opinion, especially when it comes to education. Having been an educator myself and also listening to some of the challenges from PSS, is that they are trying to, or they have this immersion program, but the struggle is having to, getting the professionals needed to teach the Chamorro and the Carolinian language. Last week, with the acting secretary of DCCA, we have the Chamorro Carolinian Language Commission, but how much of that is being done to preserve and teach the language? I stated last week that, growing up, Rhoda barely had Carolinian presence. And so even up until today, when we sing the Carolinian portion of the anthem, there's a lot of mispronunciation. It was never really taught. And then even so, do we have that same feeling of proudness when we sing the Sinamay anthem as we do the U.S. anthem? Because the U.S. anthem, we understand the words and we can resonate with that, but do we really understand the full meaning of the Sinamay anthem, both in Chamorro and Carolinian? If you ask people my age and those younger than me, do we understand fully what it means to be Chamorro? And even if we understand the language, how much is the Sinamay doing to protect that language? Guam, our neighbors, we see so much changes going on that we are hoping that we can also do the same here. I often make a joke when I meet other Chamorros. It's like, are you Chamorro with a capital H or a small letter H? Because Guam has already adopted the spelling of the Chamorro word with a capital H, whereas in the Sinamay, we're still using small letter H. So things like that. And I try to put more focus on the language portion because I feel that part of our culture is dying. I have a bill drafted and it was introduced to legislature ago by Rep. LJ, and that is to have signs even posted in all three languages, English, Chamorro, and Carolinian, because we don't see that often here. And like I said, I'd hate to compare ourselves to Guam, but we have to also be proactive in trying to get to revive the language and even teach those about it. And so just some of the things to consider if you get confirmed. I've been trying to work with BSS to try to figure out how can we bring in professionals, how can we bring in our manamkus to come in and teach these immersion classes so that we can continue the education in regards to Chamorro and Carolinian. Another thing that I also wanted to bring up and for you to focus on is what are some policies that we can start introducing in this legislature to help in that process of trying to preserve and protect our culture and language. And lastly, with tourism still trying to make that rebound, this is an opportune time to really revisit some of the stuff that we're doing in terms of looking at our parks and stuff like that, and working with MVA to try to establish these programs that could help promote the Sinamay, not just as a recreational area, fishing and boating and beaches and stuff like that, but also the rich historical culture of our people, Chamorros and Carolinian. And so that's something to consider should you be confirmed by the full body. But like I said, based on your vast experiences in education as well as developing programs as well as writing grants, I feel strongly about where this committee will go in terms of how this hearing went. And so again, should you get confirmed, I look forward to working with you and trying to establish more of that language preservation. And so with that, Madam Chair, I yield.
Madam Chair, can I respond to a few of those things?
Señor, consigue.
Rest assured, one of the things about working in the nonprofit, you learn a lot that we don't learn in government. And when I was over at 500 sales during my stint over at NMTI, believe it or not, I saw the flaws of government. Sometimes when we're in it, we don't realize that there's certain aspects of government that we make things either too cumbersome or we overthink the situation. And so when I was over at 500 shows, I noticed that they were the perfect embodiment of what Indigenous Affairs should look like. They had a personnel inside the office that all they did was kick out grants. And then what do you call it? Outside, what they were doing was nothing but, if I was a carver, that's all I did was carving. What I see over at CNCA happening and everybody else is that we're the guys carving, we're the guys trying to acquire the grant, we're the guys trying to renew the grant. And so half the time we're so engrossed in the building process that we're like, oh, it's time to renew the grant again, and we go back in, and there needs to be some flow. And so a lot of the stuff you're talking about, like for instance, native practitioners, these are not grant people. These are people that know how to teach language. They should be teaching language. And so my office, I'm trying to mimic that, where we offer out grants to sub-grantees out there where they can teach language, teach what do you call it, the traditional healing, teach traditional what do you call it, cooking. And so that's where I see this program. It was heavily funded by the government previously. I'm not going to ask you for the amount of money that the guys before me did. All I'm going to say is give me the two staff besides me, and I'll move everything else on my own. Because that's how confident I am that we can bring in the resources via what do you call it, various grant opportunities. Finonya binamangkas si Pumalo. Like I said, this is not my first rodeo, and I'm confident. I just need people to give me the opportunity to ride the horse, and I'll show you where I can take her. Thank you.
Senyor Manglona. Gaha no Mr. Torbazo izona ufaisino perin fan hamza ni Chamorro Carolinian Language Commission gi mapus na legislatura no gaha probleman mami gi komentar no paraben fan mangonni interpiti I kotti mas no sadik para hami sasya mangay no certification ta olo lo istigi no fatatanya uno I interpiti ni fino I linguaje Chamorro ni linguaje refalawas no para todo manera gi alamigo gobernamento taimana I lengya si Center Donald Manglona na no malago gi poro fanli isya no sign gano hudung gi chalan ni ma praktika I linguaje gi todo manera pues ini zauna be llama atención mo gato gano no por favor spia empeños ata fino-americano ta build capacity mientras gagwaha trabiya no man fluent man claro man fino Chamorro dan refalawas cosa que se llama susteni na lenguaje no it's a dying language transmit tanto sita o sino kasi talo 25 mita na Chamorro dan refalawas man fino na lenguaje za gracias na gagaya pago za loti admaman taimana say native language no Indian pat afoto na natibus gi otro na lugar gasta sen malingu ha za demala seno preman mamaila siya na famaguun pues zao na be zao ma attention mo I para ta no build capacity gi pandan interpiti lokki enwa por lo menos or por más taza otro no cuestiono taza electa o dinida ni capacidad mo para dirigir I oficina ni manatibo gini gi gobernamento ta. Kogaha otro gini ni pumaluman members ya. Dangin taza ta hutsuma no ko na komite mago poron ni natungo dan pro anuncia na indetermina sigun I papit siya ni manaholum na konversasyon ni manhita pa na talawani no na qualificaw ho dan kapas na na porondirihi na za mapunta ho como diretor di oficina ni Manatibo. Za onto na pribilejo para ver o anúncio para Hogo za ni família Mizo na este na comitê ben recomenda por ma confirma gato gi full Senate manu isinya na sinadik em seguidas para a posição. Congratulações a Jesus Masi.
Jesus Marcel.
Short recess. It is now 3:28 p.m. and we are back from recess. We just heard the statement from appointee Mr. Ross Hugh Songao Manglona. He has been nominated to the position of resident executive to the Indigenous Affairs Office. And next up on the agenda is miscellaneous. Is there anything from the other members? If none, we will move on to adjournment, and I'd like to recognize Senator Donald Manglona for the proper motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adjournment of today's committee meeting.
Thank you. Motion has been made and it has been seconded. Are there any objections to the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. It is now 3:29 p.m. and this meeting is hereby adjourned.